Give me a break. Furious GB News Row explodes as debate over migrant hotel ruling descends into chaos. Have you ever watched a TV debate where you can just feel the tension rising, and you just know, it's all about to go spectacularly wrong? Well, that's exactly what happened on GB News, and it was one of the most explosive, raw, and genuinely furious clashes we've seen in a long time. This wasn't your polite, Westminster bubble disagreement. This was a full-blown shouting match that perfectly captures the raw nerve this country is sitting on right now. The scene was set. Presenter Michelle Dewberry was joined by Reform UK's Matt Goodwin and Labour councillor Sebastian Salek. The topic? The Bell Hotel in Epping. And let's be clear, this isn't just any hotel. This is a community flashpoint. This is the hotel that has been at the center of protests and national headlines, especially after riots erupted during the summer. Those riots followed the horrifying news that an asylum seeker living at the Bell, Hadosh Kabatu, who has since been deported, was charged with sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl and a woman. Locals were, and are, terrified and angry. They protested, they pleaded, they demanded action. And what was the result? This week, a High Court judge ruled that the Bell Hotel can continue to house migrants. That ruling was the grenade thrown into the GB News studio, and Matt Goodwin was the first to dive on it. The explosion, visibly seething, Goodwin didn't hold back. He called the decision absolutely outrageous, but he didn't stop there. He went right for the jugular, painting a picture of a system totally disconnected from the people it's supposed to serve. This is the ruling class imposing a decision on the people that they did not want, he blasted, his voice rising. He painted a picture of the betrayal felt by the community, reminding everyone of the mothers, fathers, grandparents protesting against the sexual assault of a 14-year-old girl in their neighborhood. You could feel his frustration building. He then pivoted, aiming his fire at the government's priorities. And what is this Labour government doing? He demanded, is forcing people out there to pay £15 billion in accommodation costs for people they do not want in their country. It was a full frontal assault, mixing the emotional trauma of the Epping community with the staggering financial cost. He was speaking directly to every person at home feeling left behind and ignored. And then, it was Sebastian Salek's turn. The wall of process. If you were expecting Salek to meet Goodwin's fire with fire, you were in for a shock. Instead, he put up a wall of pure process. Matt, you're talking a lot about politics, Salek said coolly, completely dismissing Goodwin's emotional plea. This was a judicial decision, this is a legal decision, you can't combine the two. That was it. That was the moment the segment truly broke. You could practically hear the record scratch. Goodwin, like thousands of people likely watching at home, just couldn't comprehend it. He muttered, under his breath, the three words that summed up the entire segment, "Give me a break." It was the sound of pure, unadulterated exasperation. It was the sound of someone feeling like they were being lectured about the rules of a game while their house was on fire. Salek, completely unfazed, just doubled down. You can't say this is political as soon as it's something you don't agree with. But he wasn't done. In a move that escalated the tension from 10 to 100, the Labour councillor then tried to take the moral high ground by invoking one of the most sacred days of the year. It's Armistice Day today, Salek declared. A lot of men died for our country. One of the things they died for is for the judiciary to be maintained and use questions using the rule of law. It was a massive gamble, and it backfired immediately. Goodwin looked stunned. He saw the opening and he took it. Do you think those veterans died? He shot back, his voice dripping with disbelief, to see the UK government putting illegal migrants ahead of the British people. Stop catastrophizing. This was the point of no return. Salek completely snubbed the devastating question. He simply refused to answer it. Instead, he went right back to his script. The reality of it means that sometimes they make decisions that you don't like. That's what judges do. It's for all of us to respect that. If we stop doing that, the whole system falls apart. This talk of the whole system falling apart was the final straw for Goodwin. Can we just stop catastrophizing? He pleaded. Wrong word. Salek exploded. Stop catastrophizing? Matt, he furiously interrupted, shouting over at his guest. You're from the Reform Party, you spend a whole summer talking about civil war. Taken aback, Goodwin barely got a no, I didn't out before Salek charged ahead, practically yelling. Reform has, Farage has, your boss has. Don't tell me to stop catastrophizing, because if there's one thing reform does is catastrophize. The debate was officially off the rails. It was no longer about the hotel, the Epping locals, or the victim. It was a raw, personal political brawl. Goodwin, trying to regain control and bring it back to the actual issue, fired off his last salvo. 200,000 illegal migrants coming into the country, not checked, being put into our communities next to families, schools, and synagogues. And Salek's response? You guessed it. Again, you're talking about politics. That's a legal decision. Don't mix the two, Salek fumed. Goodwin just looked defeated. You're washing your hands over the disaster, he accused. And honestly, it felt like he was right. The two men were speaking completely different languages. One was speaking from the heart, from a place of fear and frustration. The other was speaking from a textbook, a place of process and procedure. The cold, hard ruling, and here's the kicker. After all the shouting, all the fury, and all the passion, the cold, hard reality remains. In his 87-page ruling, Mr. Justice Mould made it clear. He said the continuing need for hotels to house asylum seekers so the Home Secretary can discharge her statutory responsibilities was a significant counterbalancing factor. Statutory responsibilities. Counterbalancing factor. This cold, detached legalese is what the people of Epping are left with. The Epping Forest District Council said it best. They called the ruling a devastating decision for local democracy and admitted they were outgunned by bigger and more powerful interests. They were outgunned, and that, right there, is the feeling that is driving this entire national conversation. The shouting on GB News might be over, but for the people who feel outgunned in their own communities, the anger is just getting started.